Chosen one, stop and listen. This message did not find you by accident. Archangel Michael is not stepping forward to tease your heart. He is stepping forward to correct something you have carried for far too long. You have been telling yourself that the silence meant no. You have been wondering if heaven moved on. But what if the silence was never rejection at all? There is something you need to hear with your whole spirit. The gift did not disappear. It did not lose your name. It did not pass you by and land in someone else's hands. It waited. It stayed hidden. And it stayed hidden for a reason that is about to change the way you read your entire season. Michael is not saying you were forgotten. He is saying you were being prepared. You know what it feels like to wait past the point that seemed fair. You know what it feels like to watch doors open for others while your own hands stayed empty. And even when you tried to remain faithful, there were moments when the ache inside you became so sharp that you wondered if your prayers had been misplaced in the heavens. You kept going, but your heart has been carrying questions. Some nights you lay there and replayed everything. You asked if you missed the sign. You asked if you delayed your own blessing. You asked if you were too broken, too tired, too uncertain, or too late. Then the morning came, and you picked yourself up again. You kept showing up. You kept being kind. You kept carrying weight that no one around you could fully see. That is why this word matters. It is not coming to flatter you. It is coming to reframe your reality. Because what felt like delay was doing a deeper work than you could measure, and what felt like a closed heaven may have been a guarded door. There are gifts that can only be trusted to a version of you that no longer confuses desperation with obedience. Michael is saying something very direct today. The reason this waited is not because you were unloved. The reason it waited is because the version of you that first asked for it could not have carried it without losing yourself in the process. That older version of you might have turned a blessing into a burden, or a door into another trap, or a sacred assignment into another attempt to earn approval. Sit with that for a moment. This is not punishment. This is protection. This is not abandonment. This is precision. And the very thing that used to offend your heart is the thing that is now about to heal it. Because heaven does not just release gifts based on desire. Heaven releases gifts when the vessel can carry the weight without collapsing under what it once begged to receive. There are some of you hearing this right now, and your chest is tight because you know the waiting has been long. It has been longer than you told most people. You smiled through it. You kept serving through it. And while other people saw your composure, only heaven saw how many times you nearly gave up in private. Only heaven saw how many times you whispered that you were tired of being strong. But hear this clearly. Being tired did not disqualify you. Being confused did not cancel you. Even the moments when you cried and asked God why did not remove your name from what was written for you. Michael is not appearing in this message to shame your weariness. He is appearing to confirm that the wilderness did not erase your calling. It was carving new strength into places that once gave way too quickly. There is a reason this message begins here. Before the gift can be understood, the delay has to be understood. Before the release can make sense, the formation has to make sense. And before you are told what changed, you need to stop accusing yourself of being forgotten. The enemy wanted your waiting to become evidence against your identity. Heaven used your waiting to build your identity from the inside out. That is why your story has felt so strange. You were not just being slowed down, you were being separated. Some people walked away because they only knew how to love the version of you that was easy to access. Some doors remained closed because the old you would have walked through them too quickly. And some answers were held back because you were still learning the difference between what looks urgent and what is actually sacred. Chosen one of the hardest parts of this season has been the loneliness. Not just physical loneliness, but the loneliness of knowing something was happening in you while having no language to explain it. People told you to move on. People told you to stop thinking so deeply. People told you that if it was meant for you, it would have happened already. But their timeline was never your measure, and their comfort was never your compass. Michael is drawing a line through those old interpretations today. He is saying that the waiting was never empty. It was full of hidden work. It was full of small, unseen victories. It was full of moments when your spirit was being taught how to stand without begging for outside confirmation. And those moments matter more than you realize, because what is coming next is tied less to what you asked for and more to who you have become. Now let me say something that may land deep in your spirit. Strength is not the absence of emotion. Strength is not acting untouched. Strength is not pretending that the fire did not hurt. Real strength is what remains when pain can no longer control your decisions. Real strength is when disappointment stops making your mouth agree with lies. Real strength is when your soul still trembles, but your deeper self refuses to betray what heaven taught you. And that is why the first sign matters so much. The first sign that you are not who you used to be is this: you do not react the way you once did. You still feel things. You still notice the wound. You still sense the sting. But there are situations that used to own your nervous system, and now they do not get the same access. There are people who used to pull instant emotion out of you, and now you pause. That pause is not weakness. That pause is evidence. It means something has been strengthened inside you. Once, every delay would have pushed you into panic. Every silence would have sent you chasing answers. Every uncomfortable shift would have made you question your worth. But now there is at least a small space between what happens to you and how you answer it. And inside that space, heaven has been building authority. Do not overlook that change just because it feels quiet. Quiet growth is still growth. Slow strength is still strength. In fact, some of the deepest transformations in a chosen one happen so gradually that the person living them barely notices until one day they realize they are no longer feeding the same fear with the same agreement. That is the kind of transformation Michael is pointing to right now. It is subtle, but it is real. So, if this message is naming a season you could never fully explain, write, "I receive the timing," in the comments below, not for performance, not to impress anyone, but as a small act of agreement between your spirit and what heaven is uncovering in this moment. There is power in naming what your soul already knows, and there are times when one act of agreement helps break the fog that has been hanging over your discernment. Because once you begin to agree with truth, something inside you settles. You stop fighting every memory. You stop arguing with every delay. And you begin to see that your path was not random at all, even when it looked scattered from the outside. What looked like interruption may have been construction. What looked like a wasted season may have been a guarded chamber where a different kind of self was being shaped. Still, this is only the beginning. We have not yet touched the full reason the gift had to wait. We have not yet uncovered the deeper qualities heaven needed to form in you before release could happen. And we have not yet named the next two signs that reveal just how much stronger you have become while you were busy thinking you were only surviving. Those signs matter because they explain why the timing is different now. You may have thought the waiting was measuring your patience. It was not. It was measuring what you would do once power returned to your hands. It was measuring whether you would give yourself away again, whether you would hand sacred things to the unprepared, whether you would confuse urgency with assignment, and whether you could stand inside your own peace without abandoning it the first time pressure rose against you. That is where this goes next. Because the silence did not just test your endurance, it exposed the places where your heart once leaked strength without even knowing it. And if the first sign was your quieter response, the next sign goes even deeper. It touches the places where you used to say yes too quickly, rescue too easily, and carry what was never yours. Stay close, because that is where the deeper truth begins. Chosen one, the next truth may explain why your waiting felt so personal. The delay was not only about time, it was about capacity. You were asking heaven for something larger, while parts of you were still trained to shrink, overgive, and surrender your peace whenever someone else became uncomfortable. The gift could not safely rest in that version of you. This is where many people misunderstand preparation. They imagine preparation means doing more, proving more, or suffering longer. But some of the deepest preparation is subtraction. It is learning what you no longer have to carry. It is learning who no longer gets unlimited access to you. And it is learning that a holy yes becomes stronger when you finally understand the purpose of a holy no. There is also a practical side to this inner strengthening. Long seasons of pressure can leave the mind foggy, scattered, and disconnected from the clarity you once trusted. If you have been trying to rebuild that inner focus, there is a simple audio tool called the Genius Song that some people use as part of a quiet daily routine. The creators describe it as a 7-minute headphone audio designed around brain entrainment and gamma activity. I am not telling you that you need a product to become chosen. You do not. Your identity is not for sale. But if you have been looking for a small daily practice that supports focus while you pray, reflect, or reset your mind, you can explore it for yourself. The official link is in the description and pinned comment. Take what serves you, leave what does not, and stay centered on the deeper work we are discussing here. Because the deeper work is boundaries. You once thought love meant endless availability. You thought kindness meant explaining yourself until everyone understood. And there were seasons when you gave people access to your energy simply because you were afraid that saying no would make you look cold. But strength has been teaching you that compassion and self-abandonment are not the same thing. This is why the waiting became uncomfortable. Pressure revealed where you were still negotiating against yourself. It showed you how quickly you abandoned your own discernment when someone needed reassurance. It showed you where guilt still had authority. And most of all, it showed you that being needed is not the same as being assigned. This is one reason the gift could not arrive earlier. If it had come while you were desperate to be understood, you might have used it to prove yourself. If it had come while you were afraid of rejection, you might have handed pieces of it away just to keep people close. And if guilt still ruled your decisions, you might have mistaken exploitation for service. Now look at yourself honestly. Something has changed. You do not explain every decision anymore. You do not chase every person who becomes distant. You do not panic every time someone misunderstands your silence. There is still tenderness in you, but it is no longer begging everyone for permission to exist. That is not hardness. That is maturity, beginning to protect what heaven has been growing. The second sign of strength is your new relationship with access. You are becoming more careful about who gets your time, your attention, your ideas, and your emotional labor. Before, you may have felt guilty for protecting those things. Now you are beginning to understand that access is not an entitlement. It is a responsibility, and not everyone who asks for entrance is prepared to honor what they find inside. And this is where the watchman identity starts to awaken. A watchman does not live in fear. A watchman observes before acting. A watchman understands that not every open door is an invitation, and not every closed door is a punishment. The strength Michael is pointing to is disciplined awareness, the ability to sense what is happening without instantly surrendering your peace to it. This is the third layer of preparation. Heaven has been teaching you to separate intuition from anxiety. Anxiety rushes, discernment watches. Anxiety demands an immediate answer. Discernment can sit with uncertainty without inventing a disaster. When you learn the difference, you stop calling every fearful thought a warning. You also stop dismissing the quiet inner knowing that has repeatedly tried to guide you. Now your discernment is becoming cleaner because your need for approval is becoming weaker. The less desperate you are to be chosen by people, the easier it becomes to recognize what heaven is actually asking of you. You can hear more clearly when your identity is not screaming for validation. You can walk away without needing the other person to admit that you were right. This is part of what strong enough means. It does not mean fearless. It means you can feel fear without making fear your leader. It does not mean you never doubt. It means doubt no longer gets the final vote. And it does not mean you will never feel lonely again. It means loneliness cannot send you back into rooms that required you to betray yourself. Michael is drawing your attention to the person you became under pressure. You may still see the same face in the mirror. You may still have the same responsibilities. But your inner structure is different. Something that once folded now stands. Something that once chased now waits. Something that once begged for answers can now stay quiet long enough for truth to reveal itself. And there is another reason the gift had to wait. It is connected to what you do with power when no one is watching. This is not about control over other people. It is about stewardship over yourself. Can you hold an opportunity without announcing it too early? Can you carry a vision without asking everyone to approve it? Can you protect what is still forming from premature opinions? Now, you are learning sacred restraint. Silence is not always secrecy born from fear. Sometimes, silence is protection born from wisdom. A seed does not need an audience while it is becoming a root. Some things heaven is restoring in you need private space before they can survive public attention. This is not hiding. This is honoring the stage you are in. So the question is changing. It is no longer, why did it take so long? The better question is, what did the waiting build in me that I could not have carried before? When you ask that, your past begins to rearrange itself. The disappointments start showing their lessons. The closed doors reveal what they prevented, and the loneliness begins to look less like exile and more like training. And one more thing is waiting beneath all of this. There is a hidden blocker that can remain even after you become stronger. It is so subtle that disciplined people often mistake it for wisdom. It can keep a prepared person standing at the doorway long after the door has opened. Before this message ends, you will see what that blocker is and why releasing it changes the meaning of now. Chosen one. Now your transformation begins to show through evidence. Heaven is not asking you to trust a flattering label because it is pointing toward choices you made while nobody applauded. Those choices reveal something powerful about the person you have become. You are not responding from the same wounded place anymore. David was prepared long before anyone placed a crown near him. His hidden seasons trained courage before public responsibility arrived, while Moses also needed formation before he could carry other people. Elijah learned that divine direction does not always arrive through noise. Sometimes the strongest instruction comes quietly after your need for spectacle disappears. The first proof is restraint, and you already recognize it. You do not answer every provocation with immediate emotion anymore, because one careless comment once had power over your entire day. One delayed reply could make your mind invent painful conclusions. Now you feel the sting, but you pause before surrendering your peace. The second proof is discernment, and this change runs deeper. You are separating what feels urgent from what is truly important, because urgency once made every decision feel like an emergency. Now you wait long enough for patterns to reveal themselves. You watch actions, notice consistency, and stop letting beautiful promises erase repeated behavior. The third proof is your changing relationship with human approval. You once needed people to understand before you felt secure, and their disagreement could make you question what you already knew. Now you can hear another opinion without immediately abandoning your direction. Your identity is becoming less dependent on the emotional temperature around you. The fourth proof appears in the way you meet disappointment. Pain still touches you, but one closed door no longer becomes evidence that life rejected you or defines everything today. One setback does not have to become a prophecy. You are learning to separate a painful moment from your permanent identity. Now notice how your identity has been changing beneath everything. You began this season wondering whether you were still chosen, but heaven has been teaching you how a chosen one actually lives. You are becoming a spiritual warrior who does not worship noise. You are becoming a watchman who observes carefully before moving. You are also becoming a cycle breaker through your decisions. Old patterns cannot continue when you stop feeding them, because labels may excite you, while identity changes your daily behavior. It changes what you tolerate and what you repeatedly return to. Real identity becomes visible through choices made when nobody is watching. If this message describes your season, share it with one person. Choose someone who has been questioning their own hidden growth, but do not send it to pressure or correct them. Send it because language can help people recognize transformation. Sometimes one message helps someone see that stronger boundaries are not failure. Now stay close, because the message is becoming more precise. There is still something capable of delaying a prepared person, and it does not look like obvious fear at first. It can appear responsible, patient, and even deeply spiritual. Yet this hidden pattern can keep someone waiting after preparation is already complete. You became extremely skilled at surviving seasons of delay. You learned patience while nothing around you seemed to move, and you learned caution because disappointment had trained your expectations. You learned how to need less, so losing hurt less. Without realizing it, waiting may have started feeling safer than receiving. This is where the final test begins to reveal itself. The gift did not only wait for greater strength, but it waited for your willingness to receive without preparing for immediate loss. Many people know how to endure difficult seasons. Fewer know how to welcome goodness without searching for the hidden danger. You may recognize this reaction in ordinary moments of life. Something good happens, and your mind searches for the catch, while someone treats you kindly and part of you becomes suspicious. A door opens, but your attention immediately searches for failure. Survival trained you to expect loss before allowing yourself to enjoy peace. But survival was never meant to become your permanent identity. It was a season that taught endurance and protected movement. Yet protective habits can become walls after the season changes. A shield serves a purpose while the battle is active. You were never meant to sleep behind that shield forever. Now the shift is from endurance into conscious receiving. Endurance says you can survive without the thing desired, while receiving asks whether you can hold goodness without losing yourself. These are different forms of spiritual strength. One taught independence, while the other will require stewardship, gratitude, openness, and trust. There is another sign hidden inside this important transition. You are beginning to desire peace more than recognition, and you no longer need every critic to witness your progress. You do not need everyone who doubted you to regret it. Real elevation becomes lighter when former critics stop occupying your imagination. Michael wants you to recognize what strength actually became. You are not stronger because nothing can hurt you, but you are stronger because hurt cannot choose your next move. You are not stronger because uncertainty completely disappeared from life. You are stronger because uncertainty no longer demands automatic self-betrayal. And one deeper layer is now becoming impossible to ignore. The gift is connected to restored authority within yourself, not authority over other people or their choices around you today. Authority over your own attention, boundaries, decisions, and direction. Every restrained reaction helped strengthen that authority inside your life. The mystery is narrowing, but one final blocker remains hidden. You know why waiting mattered and what strength now means, because you have seen the evidence written through your own behavior. Yet one belief can keep a prepared person standing outside. It is the belief that more preparation will finally create perfect readiness. Perfect readiness is not coming, because growth requires participation eventually. There comes a moment when preparation must become movement, and that moment is where the next revelation begins in real life. Endless readiness can quietly become another form of hiding. Receiving may even feel more frightening than waiting did. The next part will uncover why that fear appears now. You will see why preparation can become a safe identity, and you will also understand what now means after prolonged patience. Heaven taught you how to wait without collapsing. Now you are approaching the moment when waiting must become receiving. Chosen one. This is the moment the message has been moving toward. You learned how to survive the delay, and you learned how to become steady inside uncertainty. But one habit can remain even after a person becomes strong. It is the habit of waiting for one more sign before allowing life to begin. Preparation can become a hiding place, but eventually, the same caution that kept you safe can become a wall. You can keep asking for confirmation after clarity has already arrived, simply because waiting feels more familiar than receiving. This is the hidden blocker. You may have started believing that readiness must feel completely certain. You may have thought fear would disappear before your next step became safe. But courage does not always arrive as confidence. Sometimes courage appears as a quiet decision to move while part of you is still trembling. Michael is not pointing toward reckless action. He is pointing toward the end of endless postponement. There is a difference between wisdom and avoidance, and your spirit has become strong enough to recognize it. Wisdom listens, checks, and moves with peace. Avoidance keeps asking the same question after the answer is already clear. This is why the word now matters. It is not a promise that every outer circumstance will change instantly. It is a signal that your inner season has changed. The old assignment was to endure without abandoning yourself. The new assignment is to receive without shrinking back into the identity built around waiting. For a long time, waiting gave you structure. It gave you a reason not to risk disappointment again. If nothing arrived, nothing could be taken away. If no door opened, you never had to discover whether you were ready to walk through it. That protection once made sense, but it cannot lead your next chapter. The gift is becoming clearer now. It is not one object that can be reduced to money, a relationship, or a single opportunity. Those things may or may not become part of your story. The deeper gift is restored authority within yourself, the ability to carry clarity, discernment, peace, and responsibility without giving them away. That is why it had to wait. A new opportunity can become another prison if approval still owns your voice. Even love can become painful when boundaries disappear. Heaven was not merely preparing something for you, it was preparing you to remain whole while holding what comes next. Look back at the evidence. You learned restraint when reacting would have cost your peace. You learned discernment when appearances became confusing. You learned boundaries when guilt tried to pull you backward. You learned how to stand alone without making loneliness your identity. These were not random lessons. They were training for stewardship. And this is where your old interpretation breaks apart. You were not being prepared because you were weak beyond repair. You were being strengthened because what you carry requires stability. Shame says you were delayed because something was wrong with you. Formation says the delay was building the capacity your next season requires. The strongest version of you is not the loudest one. It is the version that can receive something good without immediately announcing it, proving it, or giving it away. It is the version that can hold peace without needing chaos to feel familiar. It is the version that can say thank you without secretly preparing for loss. That is the threshold in front of you. Can you accept that your old survival skills are no longer required in every room? Can you believe caution does not have to become permanent suspicion? Can you allow a peaceful season to exist without interrogating it until all joy disappears? This does not mean ignoring wisdom. It means using wisdom without worshipping fear. You can notice risks and still remain open. You can protect your boundaries without building a prison around your heart. Mature discernment does not make you smaller. It helps you move with clean intention. Some of you have been asking for another confirmation because movement feels vulnerable. You tell yourself you are being patient, but deep inside you know you are afraid of becoming visible. It may require you to stop telling the story of the person who is always waiting. That story has been familiar for so long. You became the one who survives. You became the one who waits. You became the one who keeps believing through delay. Those identities carried you through difficult seasons, but they were never meant to become permanent names. A bridge is sacred because it helps you cross, not because you build your home on it. So what has become strong enough in you? Your capacity to stay connected to yourself while life changes. Your ability to feel fear without obeying it. Your willingness to choose boundaries without hatred, silence without resentment, and movement without needing universal approval. That is the strength this message has described from the beginning. And why did the gift wait? Because receiving without capacity can recreate old wounds. More attention can magnify the need for approval. More opportunity can magnify fear of failure. The delay was not proof that nothing was happening. It was the season in which the container became stronger than the pressure. This is why you may feel both excitement and resistance right now. Another part remembers everything that once went wrong. Do not shame that cautious part. Thank it for trying to protect you, then remind it that you have new tools now. You are not entering this season with the same awareness you had before. The next step is not to force a miracle. It is to stop resisting the growth that has already happened. Let your decisions match the person you have become. Let your boundaries remain strong when opportunity arrives. Let your peace remain yours when attention increases. Let your discernment stay awake even when something looks beautiful. There is one more truth that closes the old loop. You kept asking what the gift was because you expected the answer to be one dramatic event. But the first gift was the person formed during the delay. The outer doors matter, but they are secondary to the inner authority that can now walk through them without becoming someone else. So bring the entire message into one clear picture. The delay exposed where fear, approval, and overgiving were controlling your choices. The waiting then built restraint, discernment, boundaries, and quieter courage. The gift is restored capacity to meet what comes without abandoning yourself. That is why the word now can finally make sense. And who are you at this threshold? You are not the person who has to chase every answer. You are not the person who must prove your worth to every room. You are a chosen one, learning to carry responsibility with peace. You are a watchman, learning to see clearly. You are a cycle breaker, refusing to hand old fear into a new season. Hold that understanding before the final step. You do not need another identity built around waiting. You do not need endless preparation to feel worthy of movement. The next part is about how to receive with wisdom, protect the clarity you fought to regain, and move forward without turning this new season into another test you must earn. Chosen one, you have reached the part where understanding must become practice. You know why the delay mattered. You know what strength has been built. You know the final blocker was not weakness, but the habit of waiting after preparation had already done its work. Now the question is simple. How do you protect your clarity while learning to receive? Start with one truth. Your mind needs quiet enough to hear what fear has been interrupting. Long seasons of pressure can leave your attention scattered and your inner direction harder to trust. That does not mean your gift disappeared. It may mean your daily environment trained you to live in constant mental interruption. This is where I want to return to something mentioned earlier. The Genius Song is a 7-minute audio tool designed to be used with headphones. According to the creators, it uses brain entrainment patterns intended to support gamma activity, which they connect with focus, intuition, flow, and mental clarity. Treat that as the product claim, not as a promise that every person will experience the same result. The reason it fits this message is not because a product can give you your identity. It cannot. The connection is simpler. You have spent this journey learning not to abandon your inner signal when pressure rises. A short daily ritual can become one way to create space and intentionally return your attention to what matters. The product materials describe Dr. Robert Lake as the researcher behind the method, with decades of work connected to places such as MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and other leading institutions. They also say more than 18,000 people have used the program. Those details belong to the creator's claims, so evaluate them for yourself, rather than treating them as a guarantee. If you choose to try it, the routine is simple. Put on headphones, sit comfortably, close your eyes, or soften your gaze. Listen for 7 minutes once a day. Do not turn it into another performance test. The point is to create a repeatable moment where your attention is not being demanded by everyone else. You may be thinking that you have already tried meditation, focus music, prayer routines, or personal development tools before. That is fair. This is not about replacing prayer or pretending one audio can solve every problem. It is an optional practice for people who want a structured way to support focus while rebuilding a calmer relationship with attention. There is also the question of cost. Many people spend around $15 on meditation subscriptions, $100 to $200 on courses, and more on retreats or private sessions. The regular price listed for this program is $49. The current viewer offer is $39 as a one-time payment with digital access. The offer also includes 4 digital bonuses. The listed values are $19, $20, $29, and $12 for a combined stated value of $80. The product materials also describe a 90-day guarantee. They say you can request a refund during that period and still keep the 4 bonuses. There is no need to manufacture urgency. The only reason to act now is if endless postponement has become part of the pattern this message exposed. Before you decide anything, do one small thing. Put both feet on the floor, relax your shoulders, take one slow breath. Then ask yourself one question. Am I choosing from clarity or am I reacting from fear? You do not need to rush the answer. The strongest decision is the one that still feels clean after the emotional noise settles. If you want to explore the Genius Song, use the official link in the description or pinned comment. The creators warn that unofficial copies may not contain the original audio or full bonus package. Think of that as protection, not pressure. Read the details, consider the offer, and decide for yourself. This is your invitation, not an order. You do not become more chosen by buying something. You do not lose favor by saying no. But if mental fog, scattered focus, or constant internal noise has been part of your season, this may be one practical tool worth reviewing. The decision is yours. Now return to the deeper message, because the product is not the destination. The destination is the person you have become. You survived a season that could have made you bitter, but you learned restraint. You endured uncertainty that could have made you desperate, but you learned discernment. You lost access to people and places, but you learned that separation does not erase your worth. The gift that waited for you was never only something outside of you. It was also the ability to carry what comes next without surrendering yourself. You can receive without chasing. You can love without disappearing. You can serve without becoming the rescue plan for everyone. You can move forward without explaining every sacred decision to people who were never assigned to understand it. This is why the waiting ends differently than you imagined. There may not be thunder at the exact moment your season changes. There may be no dramatic announcement. Sometimes the shift is quieter. You wake up and realize you no longer want what once controlled you. You notice that an old fear still speaks, but it does not sound like authority anymore. Chosen one, do not rush to prove that you are ready. Readiness is already visible in the way you have changed. Protect what is still becoming clear. Move when peace and wisdom agree. Rest when rest is needed. Speak when speaking serves the assignment. Stay silent when silence protects what is still taking root. You are not being asked to become fearless overnight. You are being asked to stop giving fear the throne. You are not being asked to know every detail of the road ahead. You are being asked to honor the next clear step. That is enough. One clear step can carry more authority than 100 anxious predictions. So receive this final seal with peace. The delay did not erase you. The wilderness did not cancel you. The silence did not prove you were forgotten. It shaped the part of you that can now carry more without losing your center. What waited was not waiting to punish you. It was waiting until receiving would no longer cost you yourself. If this message belongs to your season, write "I am ready" in the comments. Let those words mean something grounded. Let them mean you are ready to choose clarity over panic. Let them mean you are ready to keep your boundaries. Let them mean you are ready to receive what is good without immediately preparing for loss. And when tomorrow comes, remember this: you do not have to chase the gift. You do not have to beg the door to recognize you. Walk with the strength that waiting created. Carry your peace like something sacred. Trust the discernment you earned through difficult seasons. Let your new life meet the new version of you. Chosen one, the time is not powerful because a clock changed. The time is powerful because you changed. That is the difference. That is the confirmation. And that is why now, more than ever, you can move forward with open hands, clear eyes, and a heart that no longer needs to abandon itself to receive what comes next.